So in this video, we have John Catanzara and Patrick Sheehan addressing the escalating issue of these teen takeovers. Now, I've mentioned this briefly in another video, but I really want to focus on this. It's becoming a big issue, especially in blue cities, probably primarily in blue cities, and these street racing issues as well in Chicago, critiquing the city leadership's perceived leniency. And so this Catanzara guy argues for aggressive police tactics, including detaining participants until the parents arrive and even impounding or selling the vehicles. We're highlighting here the dangerous pressure on officers to prioritize these quote unquote stock cards over safety. And the conversation really focuses here on the accountability for both these kids doing this stuff and the parents.
Ask you one final question before I let you go. We've talked about it time and time again on ask you one final question before I let you go. We've talked about it time and time again on Chicago Report, the teen takeovers. A lot of people seem to pass the buck when it comes to this topic. They say, social media is to blame. We rarely hear that people come back and say the parents and the children should be held responsible. What's your take on that?
Well, by definition, it's a takeover. A takeover is illegal in many circumstances, especially when you are talking about large swaths of the downtown area. A public street cannot be taken over without a permit, which these do not exist. And we've allowed it to happen time and time again. And forever, the terminology mob action has been used. The mayor doesn't like it. He's a coward. He's an excuser for all this bad behavior. And as long as people like him continue to call the shots, we're going to continue to have these situations until these kids get the message that it is not going to be allowed, that this city is meant to be enjoyed by all. And when you are running roughshod, I don't care what nationality or what part of the city you're in, when you're running roughshod, 100, 200 at a time, causing mayhem like that, the rest of the people in this city cannot enjoy it. And that's just wrong.
I have heard, John, secretly that officers have been told not to make arrests. Have you heard that? And what do you think the consequences should be for this behavior, no matter if it's downtown, no matter if it's in Hyde Park? What do you think the consequences should be for a teen takeover?
Listen, I think one of the simplest solutions is, especially if it's downtown, lock them all up. Grab them all, detain them, take them as far away into Area 5 on Grand and Central and make the parents, and hold them there until the parents show up to pick them up. And keep doing it until the parents start knowing this, know where your kid is at. Like your kid's going to tell you, I'm going to a teen takeover to be an idiot. They're not going to do that. So again, the mayor is just making excuses. He just refuses to acknowledge that this is a problem because all he cares about is the optics of black and brown kids being attacked by the police. And it's just, it's ridiculous.
What do you?
I guarantee if these were teen takeovers by white kids in Mount Greenwood, there'd be a serious crackdown, and the mayor wouldn't say anything about excusing the bad behavior.
I'm just curious, and Patrick, I'm sorry that I'm holding you hostage with this conversation.
You're fine. I appreciate it. I love John's candor.
And you can join in too here, because we have heard it's mental health. There's not enough to do in the communities. We've heard the whole list, a laundry list, I would say, for this behavior, making it a little bit more acceptable and not owning that some of it is just straight up bad behavior.
It is, and I worked with representatives on the other side of the aisle. We had a bill that I had proposed, and we were going to put in a police omnibus that was part of these teen takeovers, part of these street racing issues, where we were going to allow the Chicago police, municipal police, to be able to issue admin citations to these kids and these bystanders for attending these street racing events and these teen takeovers.
Well, we will see how all of this pans out. Patrick Sheehan and John. Go ahead. I know you got something to say. Go ahead.
You brought up these street takeovers.
Yeah.
And one of the simplest solutions, it goes back to the riots of 2020. And I made this comment to Mayor Lightfoot. She didn't care because she didn't want him to do anything about it either. But give the officers the authority to disable these vehicles. Let them stick a knife in the tire of the cars. Disable the vehicles from leaving and then impound them. And don't just take them and fine them. Take possession of the vehicle, take it to court, and now the city can take that vehicle and sell it. I guarantee you start taking away these kids' and the parents are going to lose the money on the investment in these vehicles, and you start putting in the city coffers. It ain't going to take too many times before it stops. But that would have allowed a lot of the rioting and looting that went on in 2020 to stop if the officers had the ability to disable vehicles.
Okay, John Catanzara, how about this? We'll have you back on the show, maybe even tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'll check your
can I
schedule.
ask John to just bring this whole thing full circle? We had a conversation offline about these the stop issues, and John had brought up Ella French and Carlos Yanes, and I just want him to just tell you and the viewers what he told me.
Well, they told me I got to go. Do I have enough time here, guys? Or we got
I'll
to
make it
wrap?
super quick. This isn't specific
Okay,
to
quick.
Ella and
Make
Carlos.
it quick. Go ahead. It is worth it. They're worth it because they lost their lives. So go ahead.
Correct. So this isn't specific to Al or Carlos or even Josh, but members within that unit made it very clear after that incident happened that they were being pressured to come up with blue cards, traffic stop cards. And when units like that are put together to stop vehicles, to find guns specifically, it is going to do nothing but lead to bad results because officers are going to feel compelled to stop as many vehicles in a night as they can. Legally, yes, but nonetheless, it's going to cause problems because you're going to make mistakes eventually by trying to chase numbers. And all the bosses care about is those cards to make them look good so they can be considered for a new little fancy piece of jewelry around their collar. And I got that from more than a couple different teams within that unit at that time.
Well, rest in peace to Ella French. Carlos, and as we know, he suffered some injuries as well, physically, and also all the officers involved definitely suffered injuries in terms of their emotions. So we appreciate, you bringing that up and pointing that out. John Catanzara, Patrick Sheehan, it was a pleasure. We got to have you both back because we could just do a whole show together at this point. I have so many more questions that I didn't get to, but.
Okay, yeah. So really, it comes down to consequences. If these teens see the consequences of their actions, they'll probably stop doing it. If the parents don't check in with their kids, they don't care, and don't raise them to be aware to respect people's properties, to not go out on, say, school nights or even on weekends, and just cause chaos, to not give into the crowd mentality or the mob mentality. In other words, to think for themselves and to understand the consequences, I think this will go a lot better. Also, from the other side, it needs to be cracked down on incredibly. Mayor Johnson is what, 6% now? He's like pretty much the worst mayor uh, of Chicago, and he has a lot of redeeming to do, and this would help to bring Chicago back. To say there's nothing to do, and that's the reason why they're going out, because there's like a lack of community opportunity or uh, options out there to get involved. Okay, well, say there is a lack of that. Well, then create it. Find good people to be around and create a night where you can do a game night. Rent out a venue and do a game night or something, or just play in a park. Do a play baseball in a baseball park, something. There's lots of things you can do. Chicago's a city of what, 3 million people? It's a huge city. And they say there's like nothing to do. And that's why these kids are going out and causing trouble because they're stir crazy or whatnot is bull crap. It's nothing. That's nothing. That's crap. And then of course, don't like to bring the race into it, but yeah, Brandon Johnson's afraid of the whole stereotypes of black people getting arrested by white officers. Well, if white officers or police officers are arresting black people because they're black, well, then they should be arrested themselves and fired, right? That's incredibly disgusting. They should be arrested for their actions. And from what these videos are showing of them jumping on cars and causing damage and all that stuff, yeah, it doesn't matter what race you are. You vandalize, you endanger other people, you disturb the peace. Yeah, you're going to get fined and arrested. If these parents know about this and they don't care and they're not being parents, then find them and arrest them. And the whole thing with the street racing, yeah, I agree. Stop the cars, disable the vehicles, impound them, and sell them to the city. Don't give a penny to these parents or the owners of the vehicles. Cars aren't cheap. A lot of times people start listening when their wallet gets affected. So I bet you their teen would get their butt whooped. Their kid would get their butt whooped by their mother or father, whoever is there, their guardian, if they took their car out and did this street racing nonsense and then they lost their car. Again, with the other video I talked about with these woke activist judges who just let these people out over and over and over again to reoffend, they don't understand the consequences in the harm they're doing the community, and it needs to be brought home to them. Now, I was looking at this whole blue card thing. I'll read from you guys here, or from it for you guys here. So there's an officer, Ella French, who was fatally shot in the back of the head, and she was the first female officer killed in line of duty in 33 years here. This shooting happened August 7th, 2021. It was during Chicago Police Department. Officers were shot during a traffic stop in West Inglewood. The other one was Carlos Yanez Jr. He was shot, went after being shot 5 times. Joshua Blas was third officer or partner who returned fire. Wounded the suspect. Okay, he didn't die. It was just those two. But so the whole thing about this is that there was specialized units were being pressured to generate high volumes of these blue cards, which are traffic stop documentation to make the unit's productivity look good on paper. So yeah, what's saying, like Katanzaro was saying in the video, is that when they're forced to chase these numbers to satisfy these administrative metrics here or earn promotions, they may rush into stops or handle a high volume of contacts in a way that puts them in dangerous situations. And it's only a matter of time, apparently, before a tragedy like this happened. And police officers shouldn't have to chase numbers like you have in DC. They were downcharging the crimes, right? A felony was now a misdemeanor. Armed robbery was now burglary, right? To make the numbers look better, make the place look safer, make more funding come because it looks like they're doing their job. So there needs to be transparency here, and also another point that we brought up here is that there needs to be consequences for these people doing these things. So thank you guys for listening. I appreciate your attention here. I also appreciate you guys subscribing, ringing that notification bell for not missing out on our videos, as well as to like and share. I'll see you next one.